Hello there, friends. It's Jimmy Maverick. Welcome to another edition of the Fantasy Maverick podcast. And today I got my good friend Swami Rob of the 94 Rock Morning Show on. We're going to talk Week 8 matchups as well as starts and sits, so you definitely want to check it out. Here we go.
Listen up. It's time for the Fantasy Maverick podcast, starring the guy who's going to help you win that fantasy championship, Jimmy Maverick.
Hey there, everybody. Welcome to the Fantasy Maverick podcast, coming at you from Santa Fe, New Mexico. And with me for the matchups, starts and sits for Week 8 is Swami Rob of the 94 Rock Morning Show. How you doing there, Swami?
Coming at you live from down south in Albuquerque.
Yeah, it was quite a storm we got early on in this week. It's mostly melted, though, at this point, which is kind of nice.
Yeah, pretty much here, too. I promised my daughter a second big day of sledding on the hill behind our house, and the snow went and melted off during school. So
yeah, so now it's just a muddy hill.
pretty much, yep.
So I don't know how you did last week, Swami, but I got to talk about in our league, Zeke and Destroy is destroying our league.
He asked me to ask you not to talk about it, too, because he thinks we're going to jinx him, so he just doesn't want us to talk about it.
Well, it's too bad, man. I'm going to talk about it. He is 178 points ahead of any other team in total points scored, and he's a full game ahead of everybody else. I don't see any way that he's really going to anybody's going to be able to dislodge this guy from the number one position in the league. So, but I just cursed you, man. Now it's all downhill.
There's only two things that can stop him at this point, and that would be the turf tearing some key players' ACLs, or somebody like Aaron Donald delivering some kind of concussion hit. That's all we can hope for at this point.
That's pretty much, man. So all we're doing is we're hoping to make it to the playoffs to hopefully get a chance to take him down there. But anyway, we got Week 8 matchups coming up here. We've got the bye weeks. Here's the teams that are out. It's Houston, Jacksonville, Washington, and Arizona. So not nearly as critical as the past 2 weeks of bye weeks have been, but still there's some key players that are going to be out this week. So hopefully that will work to your advantage. But let's just start right off. Let's go to Thursday Night Football, man. We got the Falcons at the Panthers. I got to say, what amazingly impressive, creative way are the Falcons going to lose this game?
Well, now, interesting, because there's a couple of games that I've got going on where I went and raided the waiver wire, and there was nobody incredibly fancy that was sitting there available. But, I've opted to start Justin Herbert ahead of Matt Stafford the last couple of weeks, and that's been a smart decision. But there's a couple other players. I was wanting to say there was one on the Thursday night game that I'm sitting on the fence about whether I should start or sit. So, okay. It's not this game. Sorry, proceed. I thought it was, but it's not. Yeah.
Well, I gotta say, first of all, as far as the Carolina defense goes, they're pretty good right now. Check out these stats. They are 10th best against tight ends. They're 3rd best against wide receivers, 5th best against running backs, and 6th best against quarterbacks. Pretty impressive for such a young unit filled with a bunch of rookies. But because of this, man, I gotta tell you, you're taking a chance if you're starting anyone besides Calvin Ridley and Julio Jones. Those are like the only two guys that I can recommend starting on the Falcons offense this week. Although you could probably throw Gurley in there too. But, man, I wouldn't start Ryan. I wouldn't start Hurst.
Here's the problem, man. The only time you can count on Todd Gurley to score a touchdown is when you don't need him to, apparently, Right. So, good question. I got to say, Matt Rule has really impressed me as a head coach in his first year with Carolina, man. I think big things are coming for them in the future if they add some more pieces.
Yeah, they've had a great season. Now, on the flip side, Carolina's been better than we expected, and Atlanta's defense is pretty bad. They're the 2nd best for opposing quarterbacks, 5th best for opposing wide receivers. They're middle of the pack against running backs. So, start all the Panthers. Go.
Well, now
I think go ahead.
Well, here's a conundrum. Okay, there's word, according to Yahoo, that CMC may be back this week. Now, if he is, I don't think you can count on a ton of production out of him. But that's a double whammy in a lot of ways, because at least in my particular instance, I picked up Mike Davis as soon as McCaffrey went out, and Davis has been great for me in McCaffrey's absence. But now I've got those two, and my other big running back's on a bye. So obviously I'm not going to start both these guys. But I'm going to be really bummed out if I decide to sit CMC one more week and he just goes out there like a day hasn't gone by. I don't think that's what's going to happen, but who knows?
Yeah, I mean, I say if you have CMC and he is a go this weekend, I'd probably start him because they're not going to bring him back before he's ready. And yeah, I mean, you got to take the upside there. But I think that Mike Davis is also definitely a start, as far as I think he's going to get. It might be a 50-50 split for week one for this week or something. But, yeah, I mean, if CMC is going to play, you got to put him into your lineup. Against this defense, you got to put him in.
That's how I feel too, right? But moving forward, if they're going to try and split duties with these guys to bring CMC back slowly, that does me no good with either of them. So go all in on one of these guys, please, and don't pull a Belichick on me, okay? I need one of these guys to produce,
Right. I think both can be productive against this Atlanta defense.
Yeah.
And here's my prediction: Atlanta's going to lose the game. They're going to be they'll be up by 1 point, and they'll try to kick a field goal. It'll get blocked and run back for a touchdown at the end of the game. So they lose again. So that's my prediction for what's going to happen this week to the poor Atlanta Falcons. Now let's go on to the Sunday games, the early games. Okay, now this game certainly looks like the game of the week, man. Certainly the one with the huge implications. We got 6-0 Steelers versus the 5-1 Ravens. Wow, this looks like a massive defensive struggle. I think it's going to be a fantasy wasteland. Check out these stats. Ravens, 7th best against quarterbacks, 4th best against running backs, 9th best against receivers. And then on the Steelers side, they're 5th best against quarterbacks. They are number 1 against running backs, 10th against receivers, and 6th best against tight ends. This just seems like you are taking a massive chance starting any players from either of these teams this game. I think it's going to be a low-scoring game.
Did you know that as of right now, the justification for the Baltimore Ravens putting Dez Bryant on their practice squad apparently Ravens receivers only have 76 receptions through week 8 and only have 740 some yards through week 8. Now I knew the Ravens receivers weren't big producers, but when you take into account that Dobbins and Ingram really haven't done a whole hell of a lot either, it's all Lamar Jackson. All right, I'll give a little credit to Mark Andrews, but other than that, they have nothing going on offensively. You take Lamar Jackson out of the equation.
Well, Lamar Jackson, even he has had a very disappointing year. I mean, he is not performing at the rate the people that took him in the second round wanted him to perform. But yeah, I mean, Hollywood Brown. I mean, I would probably start Mark Andrews, but I have Lamar Jackson in one of my leagues. I'm thinking of benching him in favor of Jared Goff. Just because it's such a terrible matchup, and also, of course, Ingram is out. And so you got J.K. Dobbins and Gus Edwards, who I think are going to be both just massively disappoint. They're rated pretty highly on projections, but geez, man, I don't think I can trust them either against this top running back defense that they got.
Well, man, I took a fly on J.K. Dobbins in a couple of leagues because there was kind of a thin group of running backs when it was time for me to draft. Thinking, well, maybe I think the best he's done for me was week 1 when he got 9 points. And after that, you're lucky if you get 4 or 5.
Right.
So, he's on the bench now, but I keep kind of hoping maybe they'll lynch him back in. Maybe we think him out, they will. Who knows?
It would be nice to see J.K. Dobbins make a statement and really they'll say, okay, I think he needs to be our lead back because Ingram hasn't done anything this year. But, I mean, this is going to be a tough game for everyone on the Ravens
prediction,
and on the Steelers. You're taking chances if you're starting anybody on these teams.
I got a fearless prediction, though, and this has nothing to do with fantasy. Steelers hang at least a 13-point spread on Baltimore. I don't think this game's going to be as close as people think. I think Pittsburgh's a lot better,
I don't know. That Ravens defense is good. They are legit. I mean, this certainly I would start either of these defenses on this game. But it's not going to be like the Tennessee game where Tennessee doesn't really have a good defense. They're not nearly as solid as they were last year.
Right.
I could see this game being just a field goal game,
16-3 final score.
There you go.
That's my prediction. Yeah.
Now how about this one? This one's kind of interesting, right? This next one, Rams at the Dolphins. Tua is going to make his debut as the starting quarterback, which seems questionable they would bring him out on this game against this defense. But that's fine. They need to start the future. They need to start the what's next for Miami. But I got to say, man, the Rams defense, absolutely a start this week. You got to put them in there. They are top 7 against quarterbacks, and this is a rookie making his debut. There's going to be a feast of sacks and turnovers, I do believe.
I can't argue with you on that one, man. I think the Rams defense, I have in one league. They've been all right. But yeah, I think the Rams, they're definitely a sneaky good team right now. It took me some convincing because I thought Chicago might actually play them a little bit closer than they did Monday night. That game was a snooze fest. Right. So I got to give the Rams their due. They're playing well.
Yeah, absolutely. And they are top 10 against wide receivers and running backs. So I got to say, man, Miami does not look like a good option for startable assets this week. I would, sit them if you can. The Miami defense. Oh, this is the other thing, right? The Miami defense is actually pretty good against quarterbacks. They're top 10 against quarterbacks. So Jared Goff is a sit. So I've got that situation where I've got Lamar Jackson or Jared Goff. I got them both as sits here. I don't know who to start.
Yeah, I'd go Goff if I was you.
Yeah, I think it's a better situation.
Mm-hmm.
Also, definitely the Miami defense is not good against the run. So I think Darrell Henderson's a start. And, so I think that's a good option. But as far as the tight ends for the Rams, Higbee or Everett, you don't know which one's going to start.
I know.
And Miami is top 2 against the position. So I would sit those guys. I wouldn't start either of them this week. So
yeah, it's hard to tell which one of those guys is going to break out.
Well, Higbee got me a zero burger this past week on one of my because I didn't realize he was out, and I didn't have any chance to actually bring in another tight end. It was too late because it was the Monday game or Sunday night game. But anyway, so I got a 0 on that. The next one, this game looks like an easy one to predict. Jets at the Chiefs. Do you think the Jets are going to get their first win this week?
Doubtful.
Not gonna happen.
Doubtful. Although I gotta say,
out too, so he was like the lone option for that offense.
I had to raid the waiver wire for a couple of running backs in one of my leagues this week. And face it, the pickings are slim. But I put in a waiver claim for Perrine for the Jets and Hyde for the Seahawks. And one of those two guys, I got to start. And I'm leaning Perrine, I think. I forget who Seattle's playing. But I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to take a fly on this guy. That team I'm starting him on is falling to crap anyway. I got nothing to lose. So I might as well.
Right. And actually, Perrine is a start for me as well. He was in on 70% of the snaps, and he got 3 targets last week. So that's pretty good. Gore was only in on like 28% of the snaps. So we can kind of see here now that Bell's gone, there's some clarity in that backfield. And I did pick up Perrine in one of my leagues as well. Yeah. Not sure if I'm going to start him this week, but he's definitely worth rostering to see what can happen. And as far as the Chiefs go, man, you got to sit all the Chiefs against the Jets. They are just so dominant, right?
Right.
No, you start all the Chiefs, all of them. They're all good. So go for it.
Man, I wish Tyreek would bust out of his slump. I'm tired of watching Chiefs games and screaming, "Throw it to Hill, throw it to Hill!" And it's not like he's slumping. He's good for 15 or 16 points a game. I was counting on him being more of a high 20s, early 30s scorer this year, and it really hasn't turned out to be that way. Just because Mahomes likes to spread the ball around.
He spreads the ball around, and you've got a better ground game this year. I mean, with now it's Clyde Edwards-Helaire and Le'Veon Bell. Let me ask you this: would you start Le'Veon Bell this week?
Yeah. Why not? It's the Jets. Don't you think he's going to want to make a splash against his former team in his first game as a Chief? Yeah.
Absolutely. I think he's going to be big. And he's going to lay waste to the Jets. So, I'm absolutely starting him too. Next up, let's see. We got the Vikings at the Packers. I got to say, man, I don't like the matchups for Dalvin Cook, Adam Thielen, or Justin Jefferson, but I can't sit him, man. You got to play those guys if you got them. I think.
Well, I've got no choice but to play Dalvin Cook in one league. But just like Christian McCaffrey, you wonder how strong he's going to come back. Wasn't that a hammy injury with him, or was it an ankle thing?
Geez, I can't tell you off the top of my head.
Yeah, me neither. I don't remember.
He is off the injury report, so he's not even listed as questionable right now.
Sure, he is. But you got to wonder how strong he's going to be coming back. Dalvin Cook, automatic start, but the dude still maybe he's hobbled a little bit, ends up with 4 points, and you're bitter. You shouldn't be surprised about
Right. Now, on the flip side, you've got Aaron Jones, who's also coming back from an injury, and Jamal Williams. I got to say, I think both of them are a start this week. I think they're going to share time. And Vikings, very generous rush defense. And so I think they're both going to be productive enough to be startable this week. So
now, do you think the coach is going to be smart in Green Bay and think that Devontae Adams can do what he did last week, 2 weeks in a row?
He should, man. Get the ball to Devontae as much as you can. And you know, obviously, Aaron Rodgers is a start too. I think he's going to be great.
Yeah.
So, not much else to say about that game. I think that one we both know how it's going to go. Next up, this one, the Colts at the Lions. Lions defense bottom 10 against all fantasy positions. So that means start all the Colts. Start them. They're good.
What do you think about Nyheim Hines as a start this week? I have no choice in one of my leagues. I had to start him because I've got nobody else sitting on my bench who can play right now. So I have to put him as.
You're hoping for a touchdown, man. That's what you're doing. You're hoping for a touchdown.
That's what I need. Just give me one. Just give me one, man. I'm good. Yeah, I had to put him as my RB2. And so based on what I was reading, I thought, well, they like to throw to him. Okay, maybe there's my play.
Right. And as far as on the other side of the ball, man, the Colts defense is legit. So I got to tell you, you got to sit Matthew Stafford. You got to sit TJ Hawkinson. And you got to sit DeAndre Swift. Swift had a nice breakout game last week, but I got to tell you what, the Colts are top 6 against the run. So it is not a game that you want to be starting anyone from the Detroit offense if you can avoid it. I mean,
well, Kenny Golladay, I'm still starting him.
Galladay should probably be fine.
Yeah.
Galladay's fine. But I mean, but I got a situation where I got TJ Hawkinson in one of my starting positions right now, and I don't want to start him, but I don't have a choice right now. So,
right.
You got to go with it. Now this next game kind of surprised me, man, because I was looking at the matchups and everything, but Raiders at the Browns, it is excellent matchups across the board. It should be a huge game. So I got to say, quarterbacks, if you're looking for a streaming option, Derek Carr's a streaming option. Baker Mayfield's a streaming option. Wide receivers, Hunter Renfro's a streaming option. Rashad Higgins, Jarvis Landry, Kareem Hunt, Harrison Bryant.
Nelson Aguilar.
I'm like, start all these guys. This is going to be a good game. It's going to be a high-scoring game.
I picked up Aguilar a couple of weeks ago and stuck him into one of my WR2 positions at a flex, and he's done really well for me. And now, as far as now the Raiders are playing, I'm sorry, I just brain farted.
Oh, the Browns.
Thank you. Jarvis Landry. Now that OBJ's out for the year, I think it's a no-brainer. Landry's going to tick back up quite a bit because he hasn't done quite as good this year as he did.
Well, he hasn't gotten any touchdowns.
Right.
We're 7 games in. He's gotten 0 touchdowns.
Yeah, it's time.
And last year, the same thing kind of happened last year. I think he went through the first half of the season and got 1 touchdown, and then he got 7 more in the second half. So that's what I'm hoping for because, I got tons of shares of Jarvis Landry.
Me too.
Yeah, his opportunity should go up right now. But this is a great game. Great fantasy game. So I'm real excited about it. Another one that looks real good to me is the Titans at the Bengals. Again, I couldn't say you sit anybody on either of these teams. It's great matchups across the board. Jonnu Smith is in a great situation. Bengals are top 3 for opposing tight ends.
Man, Jonnu Smith needs to wake the hell up. He's been slow the last couple of weeks, man.
Well, he was injured, and then he kind of came back. But it was a tough matchup last week. This is the opposite. This is a good matchup.
Let me ask you this. If you've got Gronkowski or Jonnu Smith on your same lineup, and I've been starting Jonnu Smith ahead of Gronkowski for the last 5 weeks. This week, I'm actually thinking about flipping it. Who's Tampa Bay playing this week? I forget.
Tampa Bay's playing the Giants.
I might be tempted to lean Gronkowski.
Gronk's gotten 8 targets in each of the past 2 games. I don't think you can pass that up. I would say start Gronk.
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah, but I think Jonnu's going to do really well too. I think it's a really good matchup. I also like Joe Burrow as a streaming option for quarterback if you need one. I think the Cincinnati receivers, Boyd, Higgins, and AJ Green, are all good. Titans are top 4 for opposing wide receivers. So yeah, I mean it's a good situation. Lots of great offense on both sides of the ball. So I'm kind of happy because I do have lots of shares of Bengals, Titans, Browns, and Raiders. So I'm like going with it. There's lots of starts here this week.
Yeah. Yep.
So my WTF team for the season right now is the Patriots. They're playing the Bills. They're at the Bills this week, so it's a conference game. Bills have kind of been struggling the past couple of weeks, and Cam Newton is looking like what we expected would be what would be Cam Newton. I don't know what's happened. He started out so hot, and now he's just been ice cold. Just a turnover machine.
Well, I think COVID happened because he hasn't been the same since. But, in a year where everything is ass backwards, nothing's going as planned, everything's screwy, I have to admit, I was going to take particular pleasure in watching the Patriots and Bill Belichick start to suck, right?
Right.
Now that they are, I'm thinking, this feels kind of weird to me. I almost want them to be their usual self so something feels normal this year,
Right.
But as far as some Patriots go, all right, Sony Michel has been hurt for God knows how long now. I finally dropped him this week. Hell with him. And I also got rid of Harry, the receiver. Hell with him too. Burkhead is the only one I'm still holding on to at this point. And that's just because I need a guy to my running backs with all these bye weeks and injuries. But
Yeah,
there's nobody on the Patriots is doing anything.
Yeah, I know. I mean, James White is probably pretty good. But yeah, I mean, I can't think of anyone to start besides James White. And I also think the Buffalo defense is a start this week. They haven't been that great this year, but you got to think with the turnover potential, you got to go. You got to go with the Buffalo defense.
Right.
On the other side of the ball, the New England defense is actually pretty tough. They are tough against quarterbacks, tight ends, and wide receivers. So be careful about Josh Allen and Stephon Diggs. But I got to say the running game, Singletary and Moss, I think are both good startable assets. New England is top 10 for opposing running backs. So great matchups there. So
you know what my favorite rumor, this is my favorite rumor of the week. I just heard it today. Stephon Gilmore, trade bait. And maybe the Patriots are thinking about using their one true trade chip to start building up again because they can see the writing on the wall. So,
interesting.
Yeah, it is. I know. Yeah.
So that's it for the early games. So moving on to the Sunday afternoon games, we got the Chargers at the Broncos. And I got to say, Justin Herbert, again, great streaming option. Great option this week.
He's been great.
Yeah. And as far as on the other side, I think if you're desperate and you desperately need a quarterback and there's no one available, Drew Lock might be a good option because the Chargers are top 3 for opposing quarterbacks.
Yeah, Chargers defense has been kind of slacking this year. They got a lot of injuries, obviously. So all right.
And then as far as sits, I got to say, man, the Broncos defense, their rush defense is solid. So Justin Jackson and Joshua Kelly, both suspect this week. I would not start them.
Yeah.
Now, another interesting game, I really don't know how this game is going to go, but the Niners at the Seahawks. Again, Seahawks defense is not good. They are very, very bad against quarterbacks. They've given up the most points to quarterbacks. So Jimmy Garoppolo a start? I mean,
all right.
Again, I think the Drew Lock, Jimmy Garoppolo, those are like beyond desperation. You should be able to find someone better than that on the waivers. But
now here's the hang with San Francisco. Mostert has been, man, I'm so disappointed in how he hasn't been able to stay on the field because he's done great for me. Now, this is another case, just like McCaffrey and Mike Davis in Carolina, where Jerick McKinnon was on the waiver wire when Mostert went down again. I grabbed him. He did okay for me for a couple of weeks. Gave me a big fat goose egg last week.
Right. I got negative points from McKinnon.
Yeah, I know. But I'm thinking this week I can see a turnaround with Seattle's defense. So I'm going to leave him in my starting lineup. A, because I have no choice. Running backs are so scarce. But B, I have a feeling he's going to make a pretty nice turnaround.
Yeah, and I think that's I think that's a good start. the Niners backfield is really tough to trust right now. Because you also got that other guy. Why am I drawing a blank on his name?
I know who you're talking about. I'm drawing a blank on him too.
I want to say Henry, but it's not Henry. But,
no, it's not. I can't remember his name.
Yeah. But anyway, everybody knows who we're talking about. But
sure.
There is only 2 healthy guys in that backfield. So I think you're pretty good to say like, okay, I'll give McKinnon another shot here this week. I think you're pretty safe, and he should be productive.
I've seen some running backs shred Seattle's D this year 2 or 3 times.
Right.
They're easy to be taken. So I'm feeling good about that. Yeah.
And I also like Brandon Ayuk. The wide receiver on the Niners. I think that's a great matchup. And I just wanted to say that last week, I said that Seattle has a really bad matchup. So the Arizona defense was very good against quarterbacks and wide receivers. But I said, but I'm not going to sit Russell Wilson, and I'm not going to sit either of the receivers. And it panned out. But guess what? It's the same thing again this week. The San Francisco defense, very good against both those positions, but I will not be sitting any of those players.
No.
Lockett got 50 points last week. That was crazy.
I know he did. I know. And if I'm some fantasy commissioner after seeing DK Metcalf chase down the Arizona guy who got the pick, that'd just give him 7 points for play of the week. That was the coolest thing I've ever seen. So
and it's the meme of the week. I've seen that meme like 100 times since that game.
That was awesome. I got to say, I was watching that. And when that happened, I was cheering for him. I didn't see him come out of the screen till the last 10 yards. Where did he come from? Boom, got him.
Right. And I think my favorite meme, though, is the one guy is the manager and the other guy is Karen. They have to chase each other down. And of course,
sounds about right.
Tackles the manager. So anyway.
Of course, yeah.
Let's see here. Okay, Saints at Bears. Okay, I gotta say, man, Bears defense is really good. They are top 12 against running backs, wide receivers, and quarterbacks. I'm gonna start Alvin Kamara, but I gotta say, Drew Brees and any of the receivers, maybe Michael Thomas will play this week, but
I haven't heard anything
with a hamstring. I'm guessing it's not going to happen. Anyway, doesn't seem like a good situation for you to start any of those guys. But I think Jared Cook is good also. So maybe Alvin Kamara and Jared Cook on New Orleans are good to start. But I would say
if you're starting anybody on the Bears offense, anybody, then your team must suck. The Bears offense is terrible, man. The only guy that was a viable option there. I keep seeing Cordero Patterson on the waiver wire everywhere, and I'm like, what? Is that guy still around? Come on.
I'm not taking that guy.
No,
I'm not rostering him. No. Yeah. And I do have David Montgomery as a sit. New Orleans is top 10 against the run. So I would definitely sit him. But I do have Jimmy Graham as a start because New Orleans is fantastic to opposing tight ends. So there could be some points there. And I know a lot of people are dealing with a lot of injuries at the tight end position. I think Jimmy Graham's a good option there. Now, if we just lament your Cowboys at the
we don't have to lament them. We don't have to lament them. Nah, I'm not. I'm over it. The Cowboys have been so disappointing for so long now that I don't even get wrecked when this happens. However, I've been waiting for this game for you to talk about it because I'm thinking this is the perfect time. And in one of my leagues, this is a high money league. I went from 4-1 to 4-3 in the span of 2 weeks. I'm pissed. Okay. And so I've got Zeke Elliott sitting on my bench. You can count on the Cowboys playing from behind the rest of the year. Okay? So that means more or less touches for Zeke. And based on his fumbleitis, you got his counterpart there, Tony Pollard, is starting to get 15 touches a game. This is a perfect time. And maybe the only window I'm going to get to maybe use Zeke as trade bait.
Yeah, I mean,
sell high.
I think you got a point there, and I do have a league with Zeke in it. Actually, our league is I have Zeke in it, and I mean, I was saying for the only 2 players you can maybe trust to start right now would be Zeke and Cooper. But everyone else is a bench, and I actually dropped Gallup. I dropped Gallup in several of my leagues, which is really bums me out, man. That guy was an 8th round pick and just has not done it.
Well, I've also got CeeDee Lamb had been doing real good for me to nothing all of a sudden. So I finally sent him to the bench. So
I mean, Andy Dalton might not even play this week.
He's not going to, I don't think. I don't think he's going to. So,
man, it's tough. But on the flip side, man, Dallas defense is a mess. They can't stop anyone.
Nope.
So that means Philly, all players in Philly are a start this week. So it is a good matchup. I actually picked up Carson Wentz in one of my leagues. I dropped Matt Ryan, picked up Carson Wentz.
Really?
So, I think it should be good. And, start your Philly players. It'll be a good game.
Well, yeah, score of the week for me last week was Travis Fulgham, man. I picked him up, and he had a really good week for me. And I guarantee you he's going to have a big week this week because any Tom, Dick, or Harry you yank off the street's going to get 100 yards and 10 receptions against the Cowboys.
Right. And the other guy, the tight end, Richard Rodgers, I think is his name.
Yeah,
that's a guy that if he's available, pick him up. I mean, you got both Goddard and Ertz on injured reserve right now, and Wentz will feed the ball to the tight end. So I actually got him in a couple of leagues, and I'm very happy to have a solid tight end in there. Now that's it for Sunday. So the last game is Monday Night Football, which is the Buccaneers at the Giants. Actually, this looks like a good game all around. I don't have any sits on this game, but I think both Leonard Fournette and Ronald Jones are starts. Definitely start the Tampa Bay defense. Giants, I'm not too thrilled about. I don't have anyone as a sit, but the only one I have as a start is Evan Ingram, as that's the weakest part of the Tampa Bay defense. I mean, I think it's going to be a great game for the Bucs, and boy, the Bucs are looking really good right now.
Well, now you got Godwin hurt again, right? And Mike Evans is stiffed for me last week. He's feast or famine, that guy. And now with the signing of Antonio Bryant, there's going to be less touches for him. So I don't know what to think about that situation right now. But I really need Evans to become the go-to guy. And it doesn't look like that's in the plan.
Yeah, I got to say, man, Evans has always been a guy that's been reliant on volume. If he doesn't get the volume, he can't get the production because he doesn't catch. He only has like a 55% catch percentage in his professional career. So, and that was my biggest reason against not taking him in any of my leagues this year is I'm just like, I don't think Brady's going to be able to feed him the ball that much. And now we've got, Antonio Brown in the mix, not this week, but next week. But that's definitely a downgrade for all the receiver options that were there that you drafted very, very high in your draft when you took them. So
it's too bad with Mike Evans too, because there was a couple years ago where there was a receiver class. When was that? That was probably 4, maybe 5 years ago, and there were 5 really good rookie receivers there. I think OBJ might even be one. No, that was probably.
Was that OBJ's rookie year or?
No, maybe it was a little after that. I don't remember, but it was Evans's rookie. There was the kid that was playing real well for Carolina back then. And at that time, the first 3 years of Mike Evans' career, you watch his highlight reel. That guy had as many skills as any receiver in the league. If he was on a different team that was a little bit more pass reliant, his name would be up there with the OBJs of the world and with the Julio Joneses of the world. But now I think as several years have gone by, maybe that window's closed. But, man, at one time, he had the skills of the best. He was great. But,
I think it was – 2016 or something like that. And
maybe
he had that monster year, but it was only because he had a monster year because he had monster volume. He had like 175 targets or something crazy.
Oh, well, there it is. Right.
And so, I mean, it was just one of those things where, could he ever get the volume with Tom Brady that he got with, with any of his previous quarterbacks? Well, I guess it was just the one. It was just
Winston.
Just Winston. And I don't think he can. That's not how Brady does it.
Nope.
But anyway,
goddamn Brady. God, that guy pisses me off. He went Tampa Bay, pisses me off.
He's good, man. And that Bucs defense is winning me some games too. I got tons of shares of the Bucs defense.
I got a Tampa. Yeah, me too. Yeah. So that's been a good one.
So that's it, man. That's it for week 8. So everybody out there that's listening, thanks for watching us today. And if you haven't done so already, please like and subscribe down below. And, if you have any questions about any of these players or any other players, leave a message down in the comments section. Swami, thank you very much for joining me, and good luck in week 8. And I will see you again next week. All right, man?
Yeah, now I got to give big credit to BIOS real quick for ponying up to the 60-inch flat screen 4K TV. It's a Sony, as a matter of fact, for the winner of the 94 Rock Morning Show.
Zeke and Destroy is going to very much enjoy that television.
Well, yeah, but let's jinx him. Jinx. And also, If you just want the quick hits here tomorrow, right before the Thursday game, remember I have Jimmy on the 94 Rock Morning Show, 9:45-ish on Thursday morning.
Yeah, absolutely. Look forward to speaking to you then. And everybody, good luck and week 8, and we will see you again soon. Have a good weekend, everybody.